we have more voices on the same. Joining us next is Mr. Yoshi Yokohama, co-founder and CEO of Alpaca. I'm going to request Yoshi to please join us on stage with his thoughts on what's next in money. Let's have a round of applause for Yoshi.
Hello. Hi, my name is Yoshi. I'm a co-founder, CEO of a company called Alpaca. It's literally alpaca as an animal, if you know what the alpaca is. Alpaca is a California-based brokerage platform, and then also US-regulated, licensed, approved custody and self-clearing brokerage platform. So what we have built is that we created programmatic access to global financial markets, such as stocks, options, fixed incomes, ETFs, stuff like that. On this platform, there are a bunch of banks, investment advisors, fintech apps. Those guys are building multiple innovative new financial services, wealth management applications, and trading apps. Today, we work with a couple hundred financial institutions across the world in 40 different countries. We are fortunate to work with so many different type of clients, of course, especially publicly listed financial institutions like banks, but also so many financial innovative companies like fintechs. These are just some of the example fintech companies who built their innovating application on top of our platform. So these are, for example, fintech apps from Turkey at the very top left, and then there's some of the investment advisor apps in UAE, and then bank application from Thailand. So there are many new applications getting built on top of our platform every day. So as Shiv explained about how the retail investing is happening in India, I wanted to share with you why Alpaca's building what we're building. So this really comes to how I experienced my life. We need to get involved in the global financial markets as quickly as possible, as soon as possible, as easy as possible. So I grew up in Japan. I was born and raised in Osaka. And then I grew up by the parents who barely spoke any English. And then we had nothing to do with investing or financial markets whatsoever. In high school, I was fortunate to be selected to be exchange student to go to the United States. And then after that, I started living back and forth between United States and Japan. And the one frustration that I really felt, and I think some of you who has been living different countries back and forth in India may feel the same way, but there are so many financial services or applications you can't use if you are outside of America. And this has been really, really frustrating. And the biggest disappointment that I had was Robinhood. So Shiv was talking about it as well. But in 2013, Robinhood, which is the very first mobile-first trading application that went viral, launched in the United States. And at that time, I was living in Japan. So I did not have US residency, US address, US phone number. So even though I was high up in the waiting list, I couldn't install the app, or I couldn't sign up for this trading app. So it was really frustrating. I knew that this was going to be a really cool thing. And there are not only Robinhoods. There are services like Acorns, Wealthfront, Betterment. There are multiple services like that. But you can only use them if you live in the US. And this is really not fair, in my opinion. And the most recent one that happened is this Kalshi. Kalshi became a super, super big in the US because it allowed the users to bet on and then trade probability of if Trump will win or Harris will win in the presidential elections. This became extremely popular it became the biggest downloaded app on the US App Store, more than our favorite ChatGPT. But again, unless you have the US residency and US address, you are not able to use this. And Kalshi is not some weird app. This is US CFTC regulated financial services product. But still, you cannot use it unless you have a residency in the US. And this is really the reason why what we are doing at Alpaca. And our solution has been, how can we build a platform that allows people from global can access to the global financial markets and to the US without even living in the United States. In order to do that, we of course had to get multiple regulatory licenses and approvals, especially like US SEC, US FINRA, DTC, and we also got multiple different brokerage licenses in different countries, and then approvals to move the money around cross-border, international to the different countries. So we had to do all those very boring, but very important job to get the licenses. And by doing that, we were able to include all those mid-office, back-office operations of the financial services institutions, such as opening the accounts, doing the KYC, which is know your customer, or anti-money laundering checks that you have to do if you're a financial services company, and then able to create the whole rails between the different countries, from the United States to Japan or to the India or different places. And then, of course, being able to settle, execute, custody trades, and then also being a custodian for the people's securities holding. And then finally, being able to say, person A has how much money, how much securities, stuff like that, all of these things inside of the one platform. And then we also made it extremely programmable. And this is really, really important because we expect each of the entrepreneurs, developers, fintech companies, banks will develop applications on top of this. So it has to be extremely programmable, and it has to be easy to use developer-first products. If we think about evolution of financial services, back in 100 years ago, it used to be just face-to-face. You are actually literally handing off the stock certificate before this, by the salesperson to the person who's actually purchasing it. After the phone was invented, it became over the phone calls. What happened next is, of course, internet. You can purchase on the online brokerage, and you can click button, and you can buy without speaking with the representatives. And now, with the Robinhood's evolution and a lot of companies in India as well, like Zerodha, Grow, Upstocks, InMoney, they provide those capabilities on the mobile app. Then what's next? What we realize is that it has to be an interface for the programs. And obviously, this is fueling the velocity, super fast velocity of the evolution of the AI and the agents as well. So this is what we have built in terms of the interface. And the result, it's actually working. There are many founders, there are many even college student developers building multiple different applications in their local languages, local culture. So it's actually even better experience than missing out on Robinhood's, which I felt so frustrated about. When coming to money, Japanese people are extremely conservative. Only 20%, actually it's more like 15% of the household income of the Japanese people goes to investing. Whereas 50% of that money goes to investing in the United States. And in Japan, more than 50% of the household income actually go to the savings in the bank, which only pays almost nothing. Our national public policy rate is only 0.5%, and it used to be 0% until very recently. So you can tell how illogical this thing is. And I think this is partly because Japanese stock market, Nikkei index, didn't really perform well last 30 years after the bubble bursted at the late 90s. And then also, I think it's also partly how Japanese people are not taking a part of the global economy because of the language, how most of the Japanese people don't speak English. In India, this is very different. Of course, like more people speak English, and moreover, these are the companies that Indian people and the NRIs are being the leader of these public listed companies. That takes a big part of the global economy, which is in the high-tech, medicines, financial services. India is already taking a big part of the global economy and the global financial markets. However, it's not yet easy for the people to be able to access the global markets from India. And this is, of course, there are multiple reasons. SEBI has been doing an amazing job to make sure to protect investors of the Indian citizens so that their assets will not be stolen, make sure that it gets protected. So they have to do a lot of protection around the capital flight as well, so the money doesn't go out from India and doesn't come back. But these are the things that's getting discussed. And then these are actually two companies and two applications that has been built on top of Alpaca, Money and Five Money, which allows Indian people to have even very small exposure with a very small amount of the deposits to start getting exposed to the global financial markets. And from my experience, not having any relation to the investing or financial markets, and then have no experience to the outside of Japan, financial markets has been allowing me to be a part of the global economic expansion. In India, it's already so many leaders of the global economy companies are led by Indian people. So I think I'm super excited to see how Indian retails will continue to be more involved in the global financial markets, and then how it's going to have the more part in the global economy as well. Thank you.